at a time when the country is faced with lots of agitations threatening Nigeria's nationhood. What does this portend at this stage of our national life? It's question time. Welcome to the program. I'm Benga Ashiru. Why not join in this conversation by sending us your comments on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. The last couple of days have been inundated with heightened sentiments and hardline rhetorics of ethnic agitations, from self-determination to a demand for political referendum as a precondition for elections to hold in the southeast of Nigeria, where the southeast governors distancing themselves from such pronouncements. How would posterity preserve these calls in the coming days? Is this a popular wish of the people, or just a handwork of a few flying the ethnic card for their selfish interest? We had a chat with the President General of the Nwodo and the former Minister of Information, Mr. John Nwodo. We began by taking his perspective on the torrent of agitations across the country. The President General of the Nwodo, Mr. John Nwodo, thank you for joining us on this episode of Question Time.
Thank you, Benga, for having me.
Now, taking our point of departure now, this is a point where Nigeria is faced with lots of agitations threatening Nigeria's nationhood. How do you see this development coming at this point, at this stage in our national life?
Well, I think it is a convergence of a long period of neglect in addressing the critical issues that make for national unity in the country. We have been under military rule for a very long time. The two constitutions we have used to implement civil democracy were crafted by the military. The last one, in fact, was not ready until elections had been concluded, and it was still in printing stage at the time the National Assembly was being convoked. Consequently, there was no involvement of the citizenry in the drafting and adoption of that constitution.
Does this suggest that the nation is predicated on a faulty draft working document, which is our constitution?
This constitution is oppressive. This constitution does not make for national unity. Why do I say this? You have a country which is called the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but is running a unitary system. The federal government is too powerful. All resources of the federation are controlled by the federal government, namely the mineral resources, which is the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. It was not like this when we achieved independence. When we achieved independence, the mineral resources were within the control of the various regions of Nigeria. And there was a formula by which we contributed to the federal coffers. Federal government was limited to external defense, immigration, external affairs, and what have you. Regional governments propelled development in all fields of learning.
When you call for a constitutional amendment, isn't that being preemptive? Because the Ken Amani Committee, which is on electoral amendments and constitutional amendment, is already taking care of that. So is that not preemptive?
The question is the structure of the federation. President Jonathan had a constitutional conference. The constitutional conference had a report. The resources of this nation were spent to bring important people from all parts of the country. And they met, they reached conclusions. Those conclusions are available to the federal government. The Senate has called for the report. Government is a continuum. Nothing has been done about this. Now, without even implementing all of this, I can speak for the Southeast from where I come. The people of the Southeast do not feel that they are part of this federation. They do not feel so because of the way they are treated. Many other parts of the country feel exactly the same way.
When you say the Southeasterners don't have a sense of belonging, what are your facts?
That's what I was about to enunciate. And if you will be careful and patient with me in this interview, you will enable me to communicate better so that I am better understood. But if you abridge me, people will not know what I am saying. And I understand that you have time. Now, first of all, we have the 6 zones in this country, agreed to by a constitutional conference, used as units of administration in this country. Every political party distributes their offices according to the 6 zones of this country. Every major federal establishment has zonal offices in each of the 6 zones. So, without being in the Constitution, it is accepted. Of all the 6 zones, we have the least number of states. We have the least number of local governments. If that was just the end of it, we wouldn't have bothered. As far as memory can remember, since the return to civil democracy, we have had the least allocation in capital development. In the current budget, we have a mere 28 billion compared to other people who have 100 and something billion in the various zones. We are the fastest growing economy in terms of rise of manufacturing concerns. We are perhaps the second in terms of value-added tax in the whole of the Federation. The attention to capital projects in our place is the worst. Take the Niger Bridge, the most important infrastructure in the Southeast, which links us with the West and the South-South, and the South-South with the West. It is in a comatose condition. It has only had notional reflection in the capital budget. Take electricity generation in Nigeria. Only 9% of electricity generated in Nigeria is allocated to the discourse in the Southeast.